to the Kings. The Kings, I think, had one of the most, I would say, one of the most fun teams in a while. Obviously since that 2002, 2003 team with Weber, White Chocolate, Mike Bibby, Divock. I mean, this team obviously was trying to find a way to get to the playoffs. They're trying to find a way to capitalize on the assets that they had. And unfortunately, Halliburton was the asset that they had to get rid of. But it ended up working well for them. They ended up going to the playoffs, which they haven't gone to in a while. They were in a barn burner against the Golden State Warriors. And if not for an injury to a De'Aaron Fox hand, it might be a different story. And also a more post moves from Sabonis would have also helped as well in that series. But
he was hurt too, though.
True. But he still only has a right hand hook. He doesn't have anything else in his bag.
True. Yeah, you're not wrong.
But Sacramento Kings, they were a fun team to watch. I think they kind of went from league pass worthy to obviously NBA playoffs this past season. Where do we see this team, and what's their future looking like?
I mean, I kind of see more of the same, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like they broke out onto the scene last year, but they're kind of stuck with what they have. Like Sabonis, he's one of your main guys, and you're building around him. And it's basically just up to him to become a better defender and become a better shot maker, since we just watched the Warriors completely leave him open in that playoff series. Mm-hmm. And he went from, I don't know, like 20-10 to like 15-10 or something like that. He couldn't score. It was just a really inefficient 15. So they need Sabonis if they want to make some real noise in the playoffs to step up. But I like the additions they made. They traded for Chris Duarte. Like that's another like wing that can play. They signed JaVale McGee, good backup center. They signed Jalen Noel. Finally, he got picked up. I'm just seeing that for the first time. I think they put him on a two-way. Thank God. Seattle's finest. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of more of the same, honestly. There'll be a high-powered offense, not too good defensively, and they'll probably fizzle out in the second round. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel pretty similar, but like I think a little bit more positive than you. I think they're probably going to be very similar to last season, but I think they can just be a souped up version of that same team. And a lot of it, I think, stems from two dudes, right? I think Keegan Murray is definitely a guy to keep your eye on this season. He definitely grew into his role significantly last season as it went on. And by the end, he was one of the better rookies, in my opinion, of the class. By the end, I mean, he really was from the very beginning, but I genuinely was super impressed with him by the end of the postseason, their run. But I can't help but think this Sasha Vezenkov guy, the EuroLeague MVP from last season, I can't help but think he's going to have like a legitimate impact on this team. Just the way they play, he's so perfect for this offense. He's kind of a better version of Kevin Huerter, potentially. Like, potentially, he could be a better version of that guy. Because everything that I've heard about Vezenkov, especially just in terms of this little preseason run and they're, just getting warmed up for the season. I mean, the dude is a freaking laser beam from behind the arc. Like, he is just absolutely unbelievable. His shot is so nice. So, considering the fact that they're going to have so many shooters on the court, and then you have guys like that who just like, they have no rep within the league of like, they're not going to, there's going to be a lot of teams, especially for the first half of the season, that are going to pay very little respect to guys like that. And if he can make teams pay and open more shots up for their other guys that are towards the top of the roster, right? I mean, there's just going to be, we thought their offense was crazy last season. There's just a potential where it's just another level up from that in terms of how many shots they're making a game. So, I don't know. This is one of the weirder teams for me. I think this team could actually be like a sneaky contender, but a lot has to break the right way for them. So I won't say they're an actual championship contender, but I do think they're a playoff lock.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think what's fun about this team is, like you said, Pete, Veznikov is going to be a better version of what Kevin Huerter was supposed to be. Again, Kevin Huerter was good, but he was inconsistent in moments,
True.
Especially in the playoffs. Like, it was frustrating to watch them play against the Golden State Warriors when it felt like continuously he was just missing shots that he probably should have made, that he would made in the regular season. And maybe that just has to do with getting more playoff experience and things like that. But I think he's just going to be able to move the offense a little bit better. I just think that maybe the offensive flows, which is actually kind of crazy because we know Mike Brown to be more of a defensive coach. But it's cool to see that this team offensively is killing it. The thing that I really like the most too about this team, you have Damon Mitchell as a backup point guard defensively will be a rock. Like you were saying about Keegan Murray, like rookie that will emerge. Like you don't want to leave this dude open. And he could hit some shots off the dribble too. So that's a fun player to have. And I just think it adds more dynamic now that he's kind of gained some confidence. He's going to be a player that will, potentially be an X factor in any playoff series. You also have, like Brad was saying, Chris Duarte, who was really good, I think, on that team. And now he kind of has an opportunity to kind of be that backup role and maybe get some more catch and shoots opportunities. The one issue I have is probably the Harrison Barnes, and maybe that's where Vesnikov takes over. But I just felt like Harrison Barnes has kind of just been the same player throughout his whole career, which is like really solid, but just doesn't have that X factor to get you over the hump. And that's kind of the thing that they were relying on last season with Harrison Barnes, because there were some games where it's like, great, he's balling out, and then there's other games where it kind of killed him. That, and also, like I said, with Sabonis has to come back with better post moves this offseason. I need to see more than just the right hand hook. There needs to be more variety in his game if this team wants to take that next step forward.
Yeah, last thing for this team is center. I actually think that's kind of a problem for them. Like, we definitely saw it with Sabonis in the postseason last year. Once he was hurt and just kind of started getting worked by Draymond, it was over for them. But their bigs are very uninspiring. It's Alex Len and JaVale McGee. I just don't think those guys are good enough, honestly. So I would say they do have a young guy too, Chance Comanche. Is that his name? Yeah, he's a young dude. I doubt he'll see minutes. I don't actually know enough about him to actually give like a firm opinion. But yeah, their centers are pretty uninspiring. And ultimately, I do think Sabonis is a little too small for certain matchups for them, which is crazy. He's not small. He's 7 foot, but he plays a little small relative to like what you might ask your center to do. And he was getting bodied by Draymond, right? Draymond's like 6'8", right? 6'7". So he does play smaller than he is. So I think they need a center. That's a team I would have loved to see get involved for Ayton. Like that, he would have fit really well with their team. They don't need any more shooting. That's not something Ayton's going to provide you. So outside of that, I really like their roster, but it's going to flow through a couple guys. Like I said, I think Vezenkov and Keegan Murray, if they can really show up, this team's going to be kind of hard to deal with for a lot of teams.
Yeah. Let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the Sacramento Kings? I think we can all agree, playoff team. No ifs, ands, or buts. Playoff team for
100%.
The Sacramento Kings. Let us know in the comment section down below. Kings fans, did we rate them too low? Did we rate them too high? Let us know in the comment section down below.